more conservatives to the House of Representatives, more conservatives to the Senate, and we will be able to push leadership in both chambers to the right. And your congressman, Bobby Schilling, has done the right thing in representing the people. He's gone to Washington. He stood on principle. And you know, he's a business owner. He gets it. He owns St. Giuseppe's Pizza, Heavenly Pizzeria, and 10 children, 2 grandchildren. So I think he has a vested interest in doing the right thing for this country, for his children and his grandchildren. He's the 17th Congressional District Rep since 2010, one of those great freshmen that we are so proud of. He serves on the House Armed Services Committee, the Agriculture Committee, and the Committee on Small Business. And you know, like I said, he was a businessman. He gets it. And so I'm proud. Where are you, Congressman Schilling? Come on up. I'm proud. And to endorse Congressman Bobby Schilling on behalf of the Party Express. And we are going to work with you to make sure that you are reelected in the 17th District of Illinois.
Thank you very much. What a nice crowd that we have here today. You know, constantly on the Hill I get asked by a lot of the liberal newspapers out there, are you a Tea Party candidate? And I do what I call the porcupine. I say, well, are you asking me, do I believe that we're taxed enough already? Do I believe in a limited government giving power back to the people of the United States of America? Yes, I am. You know, the one thing that's really important, my good friend Paul Ryan was out Thursday morning, and I got to talk to him for a few minutes. And he says, you know what, Bobby? He says, I'm tired of all the squirrel politics. And I said, what are you talking about, Paul? He says, oh, look, squirrel. That's what's going on right now, folks. They can't talk about successes. That's right. They've got to create, you know, different wars on this and wars on that. They've got to talk about Romney's tax returns. Anything but what they're doing to our country. And I think it's really important to really keep a good eye on what has happened over the last year and a half. You know, we have truly changed the way they do business in Washington, D.C. From how much can we spend to how much can we save. Has it been perfect? Oh, by far, you know, it's definitely not perfect. But we're striving towards perfection, and that's what we need. And what we have to do, as we continue through to this election, they're going to continue to drive a message of dividing America. They're going to continue to drive this message. And what we have to do is we have to stay together. The future of our country is at risk. And this is by far the most important election in the history of the United States of America. You know, it's funny because my opponent wants to talk about how much I spent on mailers. And you know what? I tell you what she doesn't want to talk about is this. She doesn't want to talk about this freshman class of '87. We cut our budgets by 11%, $150,000. It's never been cut by that amount ever. She doesn't want to talk about the fact that we gave back the most amount of money in the history of the Illinois 17th District, $110,000. But what we did choose not to do, we chose not to have the lavish offices. We chose not to give these big, huge salaries. We chose to invest it in the people of the district because when I ran, I promised I would give the best constituent services that I could. And by golly, you know, to invest less than 50% per constituent is a pretty good investment. And you know, it's kind of like a startup business when you just get elected. You've got to go in there and kind of fire off and let people know where you're at. And the one thing I will say, because of our good constituent services, getting our message out, letting people know where our offices are, I'm going to tell you a story. We had a gentleman that was trapped in Mexico. And the family went over there. He was in a bus accident. Now, my opponent might not have done this by getting the message out and letting people know where offices were. The family went over there. They were trying to keep him there because they wanted their money. And we got wind of this because of the flyers that we sent out. They had our contact information. We actually got over there. We got this gentleman airlifted from Mexico to Texas back to the United States of America. And the best part of my job, you guys and gals, is that on December 23rd of last year, I got a telephone call from this young lady, and she says, Mr. Schilling, she goes, my dad is in the Quad City area in the hospital. Would you like to come over and visit with him? And I went over there, and as I walked in to go see her dad, she came up and she gave me the best hug that I've ever received. And she says, thank you for saving my dad's life. And I tell you, the people on our staff, at first I said, look, we all work together as a team to save Dad. So it was that. But the best part of our job, though, is being able to help and serve the people. And that's the one thing, my dad always taught me as a kid, you never ever forget where you come from. And that's just me. I didn't go to Congress to be defined. I was already defined. My business and people seeing how Bobby Schilling works and being a dad and a husband and just working hard. And yes, I did build my business. But I think the thing that is just utmost important is that this is going to be a tight race across the board. And what we have to do for the sake of our kids and our grandkids, and when you look around the room and you see all these little guys and gals running around, that's why we're in this fight. Right. That is why we're in this fight, and we will not yield. What I like to tell people, so that we can kind of simplify for my liberal friends, is this. When St. Giuseppe's Heavenly Pizza, that my wife and I started from the ground up, and my dad, who passed away in 2005, when we started that thing from the ground up, the government wasn't there to help us. When I was working 80 to 100 hours a week, struggling, fighting tooth and nail to make payments and keep things rolling, the government wasn't there to help us. We built it. My dad and I built it literally from the ground up. And we're ones that we believe in sharing with those who we choose to share with. And when people need help, that's what's awesome about our country. But the thing that the liberals don't understand is this, is that when I sell a pizza and I make a couple of dollars off of it to make that car payment, to make that house payment, to send my boys and girls off to college, it's okay. Now, something that's really important. When we leave here today, and I want to thank the Tea Party Express for coming out here. Thank you very much, and God bless you for everything you do for our nation. And the Ansus. I met Brian a couple of years ago. Just an awesome man who engaged this process, just like each and every one of you have. And what we've got to do is when we leave here today, this fight is on. When we leave here, if we think, that was a great rally, it was great to have those guys here, and we just go back to the couch and we sit around and we watch TV, we're part of the problem. The country, America, she is begging for each and every one of us to stand up, engage the process, talk to our friends, and don't be afraid to realize there's a difference between a liberal and a Democrat. The Democrats that are out there, if you ask them what they stand for, they're actually Republicans. But what we have to do for the sake of every man and woman that's ever fought, died, or bled for this great nation, for our kids and our grandkids, every single one of them, we have to stand up. We've got to engage the process, because the America that you and I love will dissipate if Barack Obama is reelected. Think about this. Here's a pretty scary thought. Barack Obama reelected. Harry Reid back in there as the leader. And Nancy Pelosi gets the gavel back. Pretty scary thought. So when we leave, we got to engage. We got to reach out to people. We've got to get on the phone. God has given us all some type of a talent or ability to do. I don't know what your talent that you've been given, that you've been gifted with. But for the sake of our great nation, for the sake of our kids and our grandkids, we need to rise up. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.